Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. I was looking through YouTube the other evening because there's nothing else going on in my life, and I came across a video which was about some tips about how to walk better, and I thought this is clearly a subgenre of YouTube educational videos which I've missed out on, and obviously it's something that I ought to contribute to, so I thought I would do Pensioner Jules' 7 tips on how to walk. So let's get stuck in, no time like the present, and we'll start off with the feet and the shoes. Right, tip number 1, if you want to start walking, it's a good idea if you've got feet. They're not essential, but you will find them quite useful, and most people, not everybody, I do appreciate that, most people do have access to 2 feet, and if you don't have 2 feet of your own, it is possible to purchase them on the internet or at some supermarkets. And if you have feet, it's advisable, if you're going to walk, to wear shoes. It's not essential, but again, you will find shoes beneficial. They do protect your feet, and tests have also shown that they protect the ground from people's dirty feet. Now, I'm wearing actually 2 different shoes. This one I'm showing you at the moment is a Skechers shoe, and it is quite worn, and I don't mean it's worn on my foot, although it is worn on my foot, but the sole is quite worn, and I don't mean that the sole of my foot is in the sole of the shoe. What I mean is that the sole of the shoe itself is quite worn because it's quite an old shoe and I haven't been able to afford to buy a new one. The one I have on my other foot, which is this foot that I'm showing you now, which is my left foot if you're in the northern hemisphere, but my right foot if you're in the southern hemisphere, or neither if you're in the eastern or western hemisphere. This happens to be a Timberland shoe and is in a rather attractive colour that I call sage, or you may call light green. Again, it's a fairly old shoe because I haven't been able to afford to buy a new one, and it's relatively worn. It's relatively worn on my left foot, although it's not quite as worn as the one on my right foot, which is worn on my right foot and is also quite worn because of the sole. Now, you will also notice that on my right foot, or your left foot if you're looking at it from your side of the screen, I'm wearing a sock, whereas on my left foot, or my right foot if you're looking at it from your side of the screen, I'm not wearing a sock. Now, a sock is not essential, and that's why I'm going to illustrate the walking process with one foot wearing a sock and one foot not wearing a sock. But it's up to you. You can choose to wear a sock. If you wear a sock, you can wear 2 socks on one foot, or you can wear 1 sock on each foot, or you can just wear 1 sock on a foot, or you can wear no socks at all. It's entirely up to you. One of the things about Julian's tips for walking is that you can make your own decisions as to how best to approach this particular process. So now we've got the shoes established, we've got the feet established, we've got the shoes established, we've got the socks established. So now we want to move on to tip number 4, which is how to start the walking process. So let's do that next, shall we? Okay, now we're going to start, which I call the walking stance step process, which is the WSSP, the walking stance step process. So as you can see, I've adopted the walking stance, and this is where I'm standing upright with both feet on the ground. It's not advisable to have both feet on the ceiling or even on either wall. It's best to have them both on the ground when you start the walking process. So this is the walking start process start process. This is the walking start step process. So we have both feet on the ground. Now, we want to start off walking, and this I think is tip number 5. Now, if you are left-brained but right-footed, then that would be this foot, and you would start the walking process using the right foot, okay? The right foot here, and we know it's the right foot because it's wearing the yellow sock. But if you are right-brained but left-footed, then you would start off with the left foot, and that is this foot on the left-hand side, or on the right-hand side if you're in the eastern hemisphere, and it's the foot that's not wearing a sock, okay? So let's imagine that we're in the right foot process, and we want to start moving forward. So what I've done, as you can see, I've just moved my right foot forward like that. I've lifted it kind of slightly off the ground, a couple of centimetres, not many, and I've put it down on the ground. Can you see I've done that? Now, if you want to see what it would look like if you were using your left foot to start off, there we are. I've started off with the left foot, I've moved it forward, and I've put it on the ground. Okay, so now let's move back, and here we are. We're back in the walking start process stance. And now we're going to see if we can walk using tip number 6. So that's where we move the right foot forward. You see I've done that. And now I move the left foot up, so it's parallel with the right foot, but a little bit further forward, and then I've moved it forward again. Do you see what I mean? And this is now almost at walking activity. Can you see that? Does that work for you? If I just show you a bit more of the screen, and there we are, we're doing a couple of steps. Now, if you're able to count up to 10, then you can walk for 10 steps. And if you're able to count up to 20, then you can walk for 20 steps. If you're only able to count up to 10, what I suggest you do is you count up to 10, you pause a little bit, and then you count up to 10 again. So let's try that, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pause, and then start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pause. Now if you can make the pause slower, then you can start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you can carry on walking. Do you see what I mean? Now, because I'm a very intelligent person and started when I was quite young, around about the age of 2, I was able to start to count up to infinity. And now that I'm 67, I'm not yet at infinity, but I'm thinking it will only be a few more years and a few more steps, and I will have reached infinity, and I may even be able to be like Buzz Lightyear and go to infinity and beyond. And then I will move into what we call existential walking systems, and that hasn't been done for a couple of thousand years, but I'm hoping to be the first person to do that and to move into the existential walking system process by getting beyond an infinity of steps. Now there are certain scientists who believe that the optimum number of steps that you should walk in a single day is infinity, although nobody has actually been able to prove this so far. Right, now you've mastered walking. Well, I suggest you do what I do. You did it by the numbers, not up to 10. You did the shoe bit, then you did the sock bit, then you did the walking stance bit, then you did the foot moving forward bit, and now you want to know, well, how do I stop? Well, there are a number of ways you can stop. You can either stop using your right foot if you're in the left hemisphere, or you can stop using your left foot if you're in the northern hemisphere. I suggest you don't stop trying to use both feet at the same time, because that's very difficult. So let's move. We're walking along, and now we want to stop. And there, we stop with the right foot. Do you see what I mean? Shall we carry on, try it with the left foot now? We're walking along, and now we stop with the left foot. You see, and we ground to a halt because we're on the ground and we've halted. Now, if you bring your right foot forward so it's parallel with your left foot like that, then you're stopped, and this is known as not going anywhere. Okay, so if we now want to start walking again, we have to do the reverse of the process. We have to move the right foot forward, then we move the left foot forward up to it, so it's parallel with the right foot, and then we move it forward a little bit further, and now we're back to walking again. Can you see that? Now, it's walking is a difficult thing. There are certain studies that have suggested that primitive man was on the earth for billions of years before they actually started to walk, and it makes you wonder, how did they get anywhere? You know, how did they get down to Lidl or Aldi or Morrison's or Sainsbury's? Other supermarkets are available, and one can only assume that they got it delivered. In other words, they were at home and they used their app and they got the food and they got it delivered. So until they started walking and were able to get to the shops on their own, there was just a big demand for delivery services. And there are those people who believe that with the rise and continuous rise of delivery services, that soon people will lose the ability to walk altogether unless Julian's video remains on the internet forever and a day, and that will enable people to learn how to walk, a skill that they've forgotten because they spent all their time sitting on the couch ordering stuff from Deliveroo and watching shit programs on the television. So that's walking. Okay, I thought you might find it useful to get what we call the side camera view. My camera lady has had to get down on the ground and sort of crawl along with the camera in her mouth, but she's paid sufficiently not to complain about that, or not to go on strike like some people in Hollywood are doing for no reason that I can fully understand. But this allows you to see the what we call the side view of the walking process. And I hope that gives you a decent idea. Now, if you want to have a front view of the walking process, here you are. Now you're getting a front view of the walking process. If you'd like to have a back view, there's the back view of the walking process. Now, some people say, is it possible to walk backwards? And in fact, yes, I am walking backwards. But lots of people have questioned this activity, particularly on The Guardian or on James O'Brien's show, and say, why do you walk backwards? Why don't you just turn around and then walk forward, but heading in the backwards direction? Does that make sense? Because otherwise, if you walk backwards, you are at risk toppling over a cliff or falling over the curb or whatever it is, tumbling into a swimming pool if you're near a swimming pool, whereas it would be much better, surely, to just turn around and walk forward. So that's what we're doing. So this is giving you front view. This is giving you left-sided view. The camera is skating above the ground. I hope you can find that useful. The state of my garden, or the country estate as we call it, is not particularly good at the moment. The gardener has been on extended leave. He's unfortunately had to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure for 147 years for reasons that I don't entirely understand, but certainly the jury seemed to think he was guilty. So whether my garden is going to survive 147 years of lack of attention, I don't know. I did ask the gardener if he could recommend somebody else, but unfortunately he was taken down to the cells before he was able to answer that particular question. We're still walking, still walking. You can play this video back at your leisure if you've been, I don't know, in a cave or something and you still haven't learned how to walk, but you have access to YouTube and electricity, obviously, or something to make YouTube work. Well, then you can learn how to walk in the cave, and then when you come out of the cave, you can start walking. And what you're doing in the cave while you can't walk is anybody's guess. Well, that was Pensioner Jules' 7 tips on how to walk. I hope you found that useful. If you like my videos, you can like my videos, you can give me a thumbs up. You can remember that the thumbs down button no longer works on Julian's videos because it's been disabled. You can hit the notification bell and that will tell you next time a video is coming up. And can I just say, actually, can I just say that I can't remember what I was just going to say. But you'll want to watch the next in this series of videos, which is Pensioner Jules' Masterclass on how to live your good life, and that is how to sit down. So you may have to learn how to stand up first, but there are other videos on the internet that will show you how to do that. So now you've been able to understand how to walk. Next you'll be able to learn how to sit down, and beyond that we might get to how to go to the toilet. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.